I would like to understand a little bit more about the eimeria variants. So my question is, should we worry about new variants eimerias as much as we care about new viruses? And if there is there any eimeria species with a greater tendency to vary?
Hmm. Well, considering variants in eimeria, eimeria gender is composed with species which are eukaryotic organisms. So these are much more complex than viruses or bacteria. So within viruses, and we see by now, there might be variation very fast. But within a single species of Coccidia, it's difficult for the Coccidia to evolve and to get different. So inside the same species, I think the Coccidia won't be able to vary very fast. So, but inside the same species, there might be some different individuals. In humans, some are tall, some are small, some are strong. And within the same species of Coccidia, it's the same. There are some population which are more pathogenic than the others. And Ray Williams in the late 90s, he worked, for example, on Eimeria acerviolina, and he saw that depending on where the parasites were picked, there was a great difference between the pathogenicity of these different isolates. And we have in our laboratory a strain of Eimeria tenella, which is mildly or low pathogenic, because with more than 50,000 oocysts, we don't kill the birds. But once we got a population, an isolate from the field, and we wanted to multiply it, and only with 5,000, we killed all the birds after 5 days. So within the same species, there might be some differences. Variants between species, there was a description last year by Damer, Blake and collaborators who showed that he described 3 new species of Eimeria. So now we consider there are 7 recognized and known and validated by the scientific community, 7 species infecting chickens directly. But Blake described 3 new species. So it means that these are not real variants. Maybe these species have been existing for a long time, but they were they are cryptic, like Blake says, and they were not discovered because they were in very low levels, and the main ones were more pathogenic, more frequent, so we only focused on the main species. But for example, with the use of vaccines that control specifically the species which are inside the vaccine, maybe it would be beneficial for this kind of cryptic species that can emerge as the other ones are well controlled, because there might be some competition between the species. So if the most prolific species like Eimeria cerviolina is very frequent, it will be in competition, and it will lower the occurrence of rarest species or species with lower prolificacy. So we might discover new species. Concerning the 3 species discovered and described last year, we don't know many things about these species, and we don't know if they are pathogenic and if they can grow in prevalence in order to cause some problems in the flocks. We don't know. But I think concerning variation within the same species, it's really difficult. But there are some species, for example, Eimeria maxima is considered there is a consideration, but there might be two subspecies within Eimeria maxima. The English scientists add these two subspecies of two variants of Eimeria maxima, and there was no cross immunity between the two subspecies. But I'm not sure these are really variants. We may consider Eimeria maxima as a big cluster, and inside there are two distinct subspecies that do not cross-react, and maybe it's because the tools we had to identify the species were not relevant enough to separate these two subspecies. But I think one variant did not emerge from the other one. The two were existing at the beginning.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.